Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ben here. I'm back again today doing another video. The subject of today's video is going to be centered on Magic Johnson and his resignation from his position as president of basketball operations for the Lakers. So just a bit of background here. If you are unfamiliar, yesterday evening Magic Johnson held an impromptu press conference and he announced that he is stepping down, aka quitting or being fired. I'm not really sure. It's very vague, but I'm pretty sure he's quitting as president of basketball operations of the Lakers. So he was the guy in charge of acquiring players, trading players, signing free agents, drafting guys, all the personnel stuff if you're unfamiliar with what a president of basketball ops does. It's basically like in any other sport, it's called general manager, but the general manager is actually sort of a lower role in basketball, and the GM title is actually president of basketball operations. So that's what the position that Magic Johnson held. He has resigned. He cited being very unhappy, not feeling like himself, and just wanting to get back to doing things that he enjoys and being happy with his life. And okay, I feel like there's going to be definitely two camps on this. There's going to be the school of thought that people say, well, Magic doesn't have follow through. He's quitting when the going is getting rough. He is just basically a quitter for this. And I think there's another school of thought that would say that honestly, this life is very short that we all lead. And if you're not doing what you enjoy and you don't really see a light at the end of the tunnel or a payoff for what you're doing, don't do it and just do what you're going to enjoy and just enjoy your life. And I definitely am not going to be critical of Magic Johnson here. I will review some of his choices and stuff as a GM, but or as a president of basketball ops. But first, I just want to say I am not going to be critical of Magic Johnson for this decision. This is a guy who stared death in the face when he got the HIV diagnosis. With the technology back then, there was a chance that he was going to die at a pretty young age, and I think that that really wakes up the idea in a person that you should just live your life doing what you really enjoy. And I think the truth of the matter is, when Magic got into this role, he didn't probably realize how much hard work it is, and that it's not really fun. You don't really get to socialize with people as much as you think. Like, a lot of the job is meeting people and convincing them to join your organization, or uh, socializing with people to get trades done and stuff like that. But this, as Magic Johnson has pointed out in some of what he said after stepping down, some of the things like you can't tweet whatever you want if unless you want to get fined. He said, I want to tweet a congrats to Russell Westbrook about the 3 straight triple double seasons, but he said I couldn't, or else I would get fined by the NBA for what they perceive as tampering. And I think there's a lot of things like that where um, in a sense he was very limited and he couldn't do a lot of things he wanted to do. Like, he wanted to be an advisor to Serena Williams on some sort of leadership advisory board, but because he was the president of the Lakers, he didn't have the freedom to do that or the time to do that. And he said in this interview I saw, that's the more of the stuff that he wants to start doing and that he already did before he was uh, leading the Lakers organization. He wants to sort of be like a role model and a person that helps the community and just people in general. And he said that when he was with the Lakers, he couldn't do that as much because the job took up some time and he couldn't do other things because of tampering and stuff like that. And so I think what it comes down to is Magic didn't realize how much hard work it is to be the president of basketball ops for an organization, and he was a little bit over his head with the role. The time that he was willing to commit and the work that he was willing to put in wasn't nearly as much as he realized it was supposed to be, and so I think for those reasons he stepped down. But I completely understand the concept of, I'm really just not happy doing this. And I think he's in a position in life because he's so wealthy and really can do whatever he wants. Um, if you're not enjoying a job like that, you don't need it whatsoever. He's not doing that job for the money or really for the publicity or really to like cement his career as a great player. So I get why he didn't want to keep doing it. So now that that little rendition about magic and doing what you want in life is over, I would like to focus a bit more on his actual specific moves as an executive for the Lakers and what I think of him. And I'm actually going to break down what I believe to be a very unfair um, a very unfair criticism of his time as the Lakers president of basketball ops. So first of all, I'll acknowledge the move that he made that is pretty much like unredeemable, and I would say that is the letting go of Julius Randle this past offseason. He had a really good season last year. I think he averaged like 16 points a game and 9 rebounds, and he was playing really well. And they basically let him go, and in his place signed a combination of Michael Beasley, Rajon Rondo, and JaVale McGee. Which, although those guys are all okay players, I think that definitely the team would have been much better off just keeping Julius Randle. He only signed for I think around 8 or 9 million with the Pelicans, so they could just sign him to 10 million in exchange of basically Rondo's contract, and they could have kept him. So I think that's like the biggest thing, the biggest gripe I hold against Magic is that they let him go. Um, I think that if they would have kept him, they would be better this year. I don't know if they'd be in the playoffs when you factor in LeBron's injury and stuff, but I think that that was a pretty bad move to just let him walk away. So as for the other big move that I think people regularly like to, or recently since the All-Star game have really been criticizing Magic for, is the trading of D'Angelo Russell, and this is one that I'm going to debunk. So when the Lakers traded D'Angelo Russell, they got him and Mozgov packaged in a deal for Brook Lopez. Keep in mind that D'Angelo Russell was a ball dominant point guard, and they had just drafted ball dominant point guard Lonzo Ball, who was perceived at the time to be the next Jason Kidd, and a lot of people thought that he would have a lot more upside than D'Angelo Russell. At the same time, D'Angelo Russell was vastly disappointing. He was only averaging around 14 points a game for the Lakers through his first 2 seasons. He was shooting like 42% from the field and like mid to lower 30s from three. So he wasn't a disappointment yet, but he wasn't living up to the potential that a lot of people saw for him at that point in his career so far. And so they traded him and Timofey Mozgov, which was 4 years and 64 million. Mozgov was making 16 million per year. They traded that for the expiring contract of Brook Lopez, who was on the last year of his deal and I think was making around like 18 million or something like that. Keep in mind that Brook Lopez up until this point was like an all-star caliber center. He was always averaging about 18 to 20 points per game around there and then like 5 rebounds a game. He had started to expand his three-point shooting, which was really good. And then basically they let him walk for nothing, which to be fair, that's another bad move by Magic to just let Brook Lopez walk when they really should have re-signed him, considering his three-point game was developing so well. So that letting Brook Lopez walk, that was a bad move. But the D'Angelo Russell trade itself was not a bad move because basically what they got in exchange for getting rid of Mozgov and getting Lopez off the books was cap space. Enough cap space to sign a max free agent, and what they use that max free agent money for, of course, LeBron. Now, a lot of people have criticized LeBron's tenure with the Lakers and saying that he's not any good anymore because they didn't make the playoffs, but those people aren't taking into account that LeBron this season has only going to end up playing around 50 games. But essentially, they traded D'Angelo Russell for the money to sign LeBron James. So in essence, they traded D'Angelo Russell for LeBron James. And to me, that is a pretty good trade. Now, you might say, well, you're simplifying it, and technically they traded him for Brook Lopez. And it's like, yes, but I mean, what they were really doing is they were using D'Angelo Russell as an incentive to get the Nets to take on a lot of really bad money in Mozgov and clear up a lot of cap space. So they basically traded away Russell for cap space to sign LeBron. And so I think from that perspective, it wasn't a bad move whatsoever because they traded a guy who was basically at the time a really somewhat underachieving player who has now become an all-star, but hindsight's always 2020, so now it looks like it was a way worse trade. But even last year, D'Angelo Russell was being a little bit of a disappointment. But when they at the time, it seemed like a really good trade in everybody's eyes, and even to me now, still it seems like a good trade. I would trade LeBron right now for D'Angelo Russell. Still, I think it was still a good trade. And so from that perspective, I don't think it's fair to be so harsh on Magic Johnson. Um, and so basically, in conclusion, I think that yes, it was bad to let Brook Lopez walk this past offseason. He could have helped spread the floor with LeBron. Yes, it was bad to let Julius Randle go, who they could have signed for just like $9 or $10 million and kept him happy. Um, so yes, those two moves were bad, but the D'Angelo Russell thing should not be held against Magic because they used the money they got in exchange for him to sign LeBron. So essentially, they traded deloading for LeBron, and I think that that's a good trade for them. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you have a good day, and comment below with any thoughts you have on this video. I'd be happy to hear from you. See you next time. Bye.